Section: Introduction. In this section, we explore the concept of in-context learning, ICL, in computer vision. We are intrigued by how large neural networks, like GPT-3, can adapt to new tasks based on user prompts. While this idea has been extensively studied in natural language processing, NLP, its application in computer vision, known as visual ICL or visual prompting, is relatively new and gaining popularity. Visual ICL allows a single model to handle multiple tasks without needing specific adjustments or changes in model weights. Our investigation is inspired by recent research suggesting the existence of task vectors and function vectors in language models. Task vectors are vectors that can replace examples in the network and still maintain functionality, while function vectors are transformer head activations carrying task representations. We aim to understand if similar task vectors exist in computer vision models. To begin, we analyze the activation space of MAE-VQGAN, looking for activations that remain consistent within a task but vary across different tasks. By ranking activations based on this criterion, we identify certain heads that can effectively cluster data by tasks, indicating the presence of visual task vectors. We hypothesize that visual ICL models also generate task vectors and set out to discover them. However, existing methods for finding visual task vectors have limitations, such as focusing only on output activations of specific tokens in the prompt sequence. This approach is suitable for text but not for images processed by models like MAE-VQGAN, which do not handle image tokens sequentially. To overcome this challenge, we condition the model on queries only and search for mean task activations that can guide the model towards desired tasks using reinforcement learning. By patching these task vectors into the model, we achieve competitive performance across various tasks, confirming their significance. Our approach differs from previous methods by directly searching for a subset of activations instead of analyzing each activation independently. We provide evidence for the existence of visual task vectors and propose a practical method to identify them. Furthermore, patching these task vectors enhances the model's performance on tasks while reducing computational complexity by 22.5%. In the realm of visual prompting, which adapts computer vision models to different tasks, we aim to understand the underlying mechanisms better. Visual prompting methods, inspired by NLP prompting techniques, enhance task-specific performance by incorporating prompt vectors into models. By investigating the MAE-VQGAN model, we seek to shed light on visual ICL operations. In enhancing model interpretability in computer vision, techniques like causal interventions and activation patching play a crucial role. These methods allow for a systematic exploration of how models encode and utilize concepts, offering valuable insights into their decision-making processes. Causal interventions enable the examination of causal structures within models by manipulating internal states or inputs, revealing direct and indirect effects on outputs. Through activation patching, we demonstrate the importance of task vectors in guiding visual prompting models for various computer vision tasks through targeted interventions. Section Summary. In this section, we explore the concept of in-context learning, ICL, in computer vision, inspired by its success in natural language processing, NLP. We investigate the existence of visual task vectors in models like MAE-VQGAN and propose a method to identify and utilize them effectively. By patching these task vectors into the model, we achieve competitive performance on various tasks while reducing computational complexity by 22.5%. Section: Task vectors. In this section, we delve into the concept of task vectors. Task vectors, also known as function vectors, are latent activations obtained from a specific layer of the transformer model. These vectors take the place of the original latent states at that layer during the forward pass of a query to guide the model in carrying out the intended task. Exploring task vectors is part of the broader effort in the field to enhance neural networks' adaptability and customization for specific tasks, ultimately improving performance by gaining a deeper insight into how different layers in a model contribute to its overall function. Our study marks the first exploration of task vectors in computer vision. Our objective is to comprehend in-context learning for computer vision and how existing models can be adjusted for various downstream tasks during inference. We specifically focus on the MAE-VQGAN model, a variant of MAE featuring a vision transformer encoder-decoder architecture. To succeed in the in-context learning (ICL) task, where given an input-output example, x_s, y_s, and a new query x_q, the model F must implicitly apply the transformation from x_s to y_s on x_q to generate y_q. Drawing from insights in natural language processing (NLP), we propose that computer vision models encode latent task vectors in their activation space during the forward pass. This encoding involves mapping the input example to a set of latent task vectors z equals z_i, k _i equals 1. Task vectors are activations that vary across different tasks but remain consistent within a specific task. We define a scoring mechanism to evaluate the significance of task vectors and compute mean activations for each position and task. By analyzing these scores, we observe that certain activations capture the essence of different tasks and effectively group data based on tasks. We further elaborate on this analysis in subsequent sections. Identifying task vectors poses a challenge due to the vast number of potential activations in models like MAE-VQGAN. To address this, we propose a method using the reinforce algorithm to find task vectors efficiently. By iteratively optimizing with gradient descent, we determine the optimal task vector positions for individual tasks. This approach can be extended to generalize task vector placements across multiple tasks, a concept we refer to as multitask patching. Additionally, we discuss different levels of granularity for applying the search, such as patching groups of tokens or entire layers, in the following section. Section Summary. In this section, we introduce the concept of task vectors, which are latent activations derived from a specific layer of a transformer model and are used to guide the model during the forward pass to perform a desired task. By exploring task vectors in computer vision, we aim to enhance neural networks' adaptability and performance by understanding how different layers contribute to the model's overall function. Our work is the first to delve into task vectors in the realm of computer vision, focusing on the MAE-VQGAN model and its vision transformer encoder-decoder architecture. Section: Experiments. In this section, we will explain our experiments where we aim to investigate if activating specific patches of task vectors in zero-shot scenarios can make the model perform visual tasks as well as or even better than the original model's one-shot in-context learning performance. We will discuss the details of how we implemented MAE-VQGAN, the prompting methods we used, our implementation specifics, the baseline methods for comparison, the visual tasks we focused on, and the experiments we carried out. For the implementation details, MAE-VQGAN is an architecture that combines a MAE with a VIT-L backbone. It consists of 24 encoder blocks and 8 decoder blocks, with 16 heads in each layer, a patch size of 16 by 16, and an input resolution of 224 by 224. The decoder generates images of higher visual quality by predicting a distribution over a VQGAN codebook. We utilized a pre-trained checkpoint trained on the computer vision figures dataset and ImageNet. In our one-shot prompting setup, we created a grid-like image structure with an input-output demonstration, a query, and a masked output region embedded in a 2x2 grid. This grid image was fed into the model to produce an output prediction for evaluation purposes. In the zero-shot prompting setup, only the query was embedded in the grid image at the bottom left quadrant position. The model reconstructed the corresponding output part by patchifying the query image at a resolution of 112x112 and applying positional encodings. The model then processed these patches along with mask tokens to generate the final result. Additionally, in the zero-shot setting, we patched intermediate activations using task vectors. We compared our approach with the causal mediation analysis methodology and an iterative greedy random search algorithm for selecting task vectors based on activation scores. We used the reinforce algorithm to determine where to patch, grouping tokens into categories to simplify the patching process. We executed the algorithm for 600 steps, optimizing the Bernoulli parameters with Atom and selecting the best checkpoint based on evaluation performance. In the activation scoring analysis, we aimed to assess if high-scoring activations indeed corresponded to task vectors. We collected activations across different tasks by running the model in a one-shot setting with prompts and queries from the Pascal 5i training set. We computed mean activations and scores for each token and evaluated the task clustering performance based on activation scores using clustering metrics and visualization techniques. Section Summary. In this section, we conduct experiments to investigate if patching task vectors in zero-shot scenarios can lead our model to perform visual tasks similarly to or even better than the original model's one-shot in context learning performance. We provide details on our MAE-VQGAN implementation, one-shot and zero-shot prompting setups, as well as comparisons with causal mediation analysis and greedy random search methodologies. Our approach involves using reinforce to select patch positions, optimizing Bernoulli parameters with Atom, and evaluating the activation scoring step to determine if high-scoring activations correspond to task vectors through clustering analysis and visualization techniques like T-SNE plots. Section: Downstream tasks. In this section, we assess our model's performance on various image tasks such as foreground segmentation, low light enhancement, inpainting, and colorization using the Pascal 5i dataset. The dataset consists of 4 image splits, each containing between 346 and 725 images with segmentation masks. We randomly select 1,000 prompt query pairs from each split in the validation set for evaluation. For foreground segmentation, we use the segmentation masks provided in the dataset and report the mean intersection over union (MEO) metric across the 4 splits. In low light enhancement, we create input-output data by reducing the color channels of a Pascal 5i image by half to generate the input, while the original image serves as the output. We evaluate the mean squared error (MSE) metric of the prediction compared to the label. In inpainting, we mask a square region equal to 25% of an image's height, width with a black square, 1/8 of the area, to create input-output pairs, using the original image as the output. The MSE metric is reported for evaluation. For colorization, we convert an image to grayscale as the input and use the original image as the output. The MSE metric is reported for evaluation. We then conduct experiments to validate the implementation details of our reinforce method. We investigate the location of task vectors in the encoder versus the decoder to determine if interventions in both parts of the model are necessary for effective task implementation. We also explore different intervention granularities to reduce the search space while maintaining precise interventions. Furthermore, we examine whether zero-shot task vector patching can achieve performance similar to one-shot prompting. We conduct task-specific experiments for each of the 4 tasks and multitask experiments with 2 images, comparing our method to baselines like causal mediation analysis, CMA, and greedy random search, GRS. We introduce the identity copy task to ensure fair comparisons. Additionally, we analyze activation scoring to identify heads that may contain task vectors. We visualize clustering based on tasks in highly ranked heads and observe consistency in values across tokens in specific quadrants. We also perform quantitative clustering analysis using silhouette score and Davies-Bolden score to validate the quality of clustering based on scoring values. Section Summary. In this section, we evaluate our method on various image-to-image tasks like foreground segmentation, low light enhancement, inpainting, and colorization using the Pascal 5i dataset. We conduct experiments to determine the optimal intervention locations in the network for task implementation and explore different intervention granularities to reduce the search space while maintaining precise interventions. Additionally, we investigate the performance of zero-shot task vector patching compared to one-shot prompting through task-specific and multitask experiments, comparing our method with baselines like causal mediation analysis and greedy random search. Section: Zero-shot task vector patching. In this section, we present the results of our method compared to the original model and various baselines in both task-specific and multitask scenarios. Surprisingly, by using task vectors, we achieve better performance in visual tasks than the original model. Our task-specific models outperform the original MAE-VQGAN across all tasks, with the GRS task-specific models even surpassing the original in some tasks. In multitask settings, our models outperform the original in all tasks except segmentation, where they perform equally, and the GRS multitask model performs comparably to the original. Causal mediation analysis, CMA, performs better than random baselines but falls short of our method's high performance. Ranking layers based on their importance and selecting the top ones significantly boosts the performance of the greedy random search compared to randomly selecting layers. Patching into the top quadrants without the GRS leads to poor performance. We also provide qualitative results for segmentation, low-light enhancement, and in painting tasks, visually comparing our task-specific models with the original MAE-VQGAN and the CMA and GRS baselines. Regarding ablations, we investigate the impact of intervening in the encoder only, decoder only, or both components. We find that intervening in both components is crucial for task implementation, with the decoder playing a more significant role. We also explore the optimal granularity for grouping tokens to reduce the search space dimensionality. Grouping by quadrants improves performance in segmentation and colorization tasks, while maintaining full patching granularity at the token level is better for low-light enhancement and in painting tasks. Our focus was on identifying task vectors, but we acknowledge the potential importance of other vector types, such as image structure activations. We evaluate performance using the MSE metric, except for segmentation, which uses MIOU, and suggest exploring direct evaluation in VQGAN token space using cross-entropy loss for potentially more accurate results in future works.